So it's like witnessing an event and believing that your version of the story is true. This is what we tend to do. We tend to think that these things are facts. We believe that we are our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And we've compounded this with every thought that arises in our mind. Our habit has been to associate with our thoughts and our feelings and emotions and to become involved with them. And every thought that we've had has brought our history with it, the history attached to that thought or type of thought or feeling in relation to that thought or emotion in relation to that thought. And so the same applies to this type of practice. If we understand that what we're imagining is the embodiment of the true nature of a thought and is a representation of an idea, and that this idea in relation to the medicine Buddha is to do with healing and the well-being of beings. And in particular, physical sickness and mental sickness, which in Vajrayana terms means like an imbalance of the elements, then we're imbuing this thought with all of these qualities. They're a representation of all of these qualities. So that it's like kind of a symbol, you know. But at the same time, it's like a key. And if you develop your ability to actually experience the thought itself clearly, then what you're doing is mimicking like your mind's own clarity, for instance. You're actually witnessing the clarity itself that your mind possesses. You're becoming aware of the qualities. And you don't have to think those qualities, you just have an idea of them. And those are the qualities which you yourself are trying to kind of develop as a result of this practice. And so it's important to understand that even just having the feeling in the beginning is enough. Because in order for your mind to establish these ideas and to continually work at reinforcing them, because it's kind of old habit versus new habit, and there's a kind of a struggle going on, and so it feels quite difficult sometimes. And all kinds of things arise, because developing the new habit is a little more difficult than settling back into the old one. And so your mind will come up with all kinds of ways of avoiding developing the new habit, because you're much more comfortable, It's like your favorite dress or something, and you can't kind of bear to let it go, even although it doesn't fit you anymore, even although it doesn't really have any meaning, Or, this old tweed jacket, that has the patches on it, and, you just keep on adding the patches, and because you're much more comfortable in this. And also, our mind will fight with this, because most of the time we're not really aware of what we're doing, and everything's done without any awareness. So this is kind of a mindless way of living your life. And our mind is much more happy to just go along with these things. I don't know whether you've noticed, but the minute that you try to kind of restrict this type of thinking, so in modern day terms, we talk about this idea of doing, which is more to do with learned, repetitive, kind of habitual behavior. And then there's what they call this idea of a driven mind. It has a goal in mind. And if this goes unchecked, it becomes neurotic. And this is the aspect of our mind which causes us the most problems. We'd rather be doing something else. Something that doesn't involve too much effort, because we're basically lazy, you know. You don't need to take that personally. It's a kind of universal kind of thing, you know. We're lazy, we want to take the easy way out. So it's the same with your practice. If you're practicing with a goal in mind, you know, and it becomes kind of a neurotic issue, then you have a problem. If you're practicing and you're lazy and you don't practice properly with the proper kind of awareness, then you have another type of problem. If you're patient and just practice like in the moment, for the moment, then that's enough. There isn't any other moment that I know of anyway. And if you want this to make a difference, then you have to realize how your mind is, how it sort of functions at the moment, in order that you have some idea of how to kind of counteract your mind's countermeasures. Like the goal-orientated approach, you know, or the questioning about your ability, you know, am I doing this properly? I have an expectation which isn't being met. And so I must be doing something wrong in my practice. I want this result. I'm bored with my practice. So I'll have to change it so that it's still the new and exciting thing that it was last week. I get angry when I practice. I'm just not getting anywhere with this. But there isn't anywhere to go. I don't like this practice. I want another better practice. This one is just not for me, this one. All of those things come up in my practice. I would really like to be able to do my practice, but I don't like the thoughts that come up when I do my practice. I like the idea of doing my practice, but I'm not so keen on the reality of it. I don't want to experience my boredom. I don't want to experience my dislikes. Or the emotions which arise, or how I feel. But actually, everything's fine. These are just the things that arise when you're doing anything. What's the difference? I don't like that type of tea. I'm not going to drink that tea, even if it's the last tea on earth. I'm not drinking that tea. I don't like the way that person spoke to me. That person got angry with me. So I didn't like my anger when I practice, and I don't like the anger that that person has outside of me. So is it a different kind of anger, or, does it have a different flavor, or, So we have to be able to kind of understand that the things that arise while we are practicing are just the same things that would arise if you were doing something else. The only difference is, if you do this properly, your mind will be free. So if you can allow what happens to arise and then accept. First you recognize, then you acknowledge that this is happening, then you allow, and then you accept, and then you can let go. And so whether your focus is on the seed syllable, or on the mantra and the seed syllable, or whether the mantra is spinning, or whether it's on its, facing inwards, or facing outwards and spinning, or whether you're imagining lights going out there, or whatever, it doesn't really matter how you feel.